A burning train full of dynamite about to blow up a town sounds like a story a child or Michael Bay would come up with. You'd be surprised to hear then that such a story did happen once upon a time in Mexico. In fact, the event is quite a well-known local legend. However, like most local legends, nobody is exactly sure on what's true and what isn't. And that's a good thing. From a young age, Jesús García Corona loved working for his local railroad. He started his career at the age of 17, working as a water boy before quickly rising through the ranks, becoming a guard and eventually a fireman by his 20s. Cheery and hard-working, Garcia quickly became a well-known figure in the town of Nacozari where he lived. He eventually worked his way up to engineer and was found to be more than capable of dealing with the frequent hazards of the work, from donkeys wandering onto the track to preventing full-on accidents. His hard work was noticed by his employers, and in 1904 he was rewarded with an all-expense-paid trip to the World's Fair in St. Louis, Missouri. By then, Garcia was a well-known and highly respected figure among local townsfolk, living by the mantra, "A gift has no end." It's said that on one occasion, while driving a train, the locomotive's brakes failed as it was speeding along. Garcia responded by quickly opening the sanders and putting the engine in full reverse. Supposedly, the train stopped just short of the end of the line. Around a month later, on the 7th of November 1907, he'd be involved in another accident. However, this time, he wouldn't get off so easily. The thing is, nobody seems to be sure exactly what happened on that day. The main story is always the same, but nobody's entirely sure of the finer details. This is what we know for certain. On this day, the regular conductor in charge of organising freight wagons was off sick, and the man tasked with filling in had little experience. A train consisting of several cars of hay and several supply cars loaded with a total of 70 boxes of dynamite destined for the local mine were parked in the freight yard in the town of Nacozari. Usually, any wagon containing explosives should be positioned at the very back of a train. Today, however, they were incorrectly positioned next to the hay wagons by the locomotive. Garcia, while on break, noticed hay had blown onto the supply cars and sparks from the locomotive's funnel lit it on fire. Quickly realizing the train was in range of a powder magazine storing over 500 tons of mining-grade explosives, Garcia ran to the engine, ordered everyone off, and put it in reverse at full speed. Garcia got the train out of town just as the dynamite ignited, destroying the train and killing him instantly. That, as far as I'm aware, is the long and short of it. What makes the story more interesting, though, is every article discussing it has a different telling. Most sources say he drove the engine 6 kilometers out of town. However, some others say he only reached half a mile before it blew up. Given an additional 12 people died as a result of the explosion, 6 kilometers out of town seems too far away for an explosion, even of that scale, to affect anyone else. There's also the matter of which railroad he worked on, as there were two in town. The 8-kilometer long narrow gauge line that led to the mines, or the standard gauge line that led to Douglas, Arizona. A few articles imply he worked the narrow gauge line, with others saying it was the line to Douglas. The direction he travelled in also seems to be a mystery, with the Wikipedia article saying the train travelled downhill. However, another article claims he remained on the train for so long because the line travelled uphill, and that he needed to stay aboard just to make sure the locomotive didn't slip while climbing the gradient. If he went uphill, maps suggest he'd be going towards the mine, but if he was going downhill, then I'm assuming that would mean towards Arizona. These facts, combined with the distance he travelled and the knowledge that he didn't jump from the train, paint an even more confusing picture. If he was only half a mile away from town when the train exploded, it would make sense that he didn't jump, as he probably didn't have time. However, if the train was going downhill, surely he could have jumped once it was picking up speed, knowing the decline in the rails would have kept it moving. And if it was 6 kilometers downhill? 6 kilometers is a very long way to push something to safety. Surely he would have jumped from the train by at least half that distance. But then let's say he was going towards the mine. If he did go 6 kilometers uphill in that direction, he would have been 3/4 of the way to the mine, and surely he wasn't thinking of driving a train full of burning dynamite towards an operating mine where it'd blow up countless others. Like I said, conflicting information in different articles makes it very difficult to build an exact picture of events. Some articles say he was 25, while others say he was only 23. Some say 6 kilometers, others say half a mile. All we know for certain is that this did happen. Jesus Garcia was a real person and he saved the lives of hundreds by sacrificing his own. The town was renamed Nacozari de Garcia in his honor. Streets, schools, bridges, and parks have been named after him. A monument to him was put up in his hometown, and in 1944, the federal government declared that the National Day of the Railroad Worker would be celebrated every 7th of November, the day of the incident. Garcia was, and still is, a national hero, albeit more of a legend these days. The tragedy took place over 100 years ago now, and the exact details of the event have been lost to time, with nobody quite knowing exactly how the incident played out. But I ask you, does it matter that we don't know exactly how it happened? That every article and video about him tells the story differently? Because to me, that's what makes this story legendary. When we know things for certain, there's no more mystery. People lose interest because they know all there is to know, and the event fades into obscurity. But when the details are fuzzy, when nobody knows exactly what happened, when all we know is a guy drove an exploding train out of town to save lives with no other context, we keep thinking about it. And that's what Garcia deserves. It doesn't matter if it was 6 kilometers or half a mile. That mystery is what keeps us talking about him and keeping his legend alive. So let us keep discussing and remembering Jesus Garcia, for he was a gift to all who knew him, and I feel it's only right we honor him by helping him live up to his mantra, that a gift has no end. Subscribe for more.